Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee, and I actually have enough books to do a mid-month wrap-up this month. Hi everyone, so I'm really excited to have enough books to talk about today to do a mid-month wrap-up. That hasn't happened in a couple of months because September and October were both pretty slow reading months for me, which is totally fine. I was bouncing back from a enormous reading month in August, and sometimes you just need things to go slower. So anyway, I have 5 things to talk about today. I am going to talk about these in the order that I read them. The end of the month, I talk about stats. I try to talk about them in the order that I enjoyed them rather than the order that I read them, and I'll have like more statsy stuff to talk about. But today it's just what I read and sort of mini reviews for everything. So the first thing I have to talk about is Strange the Dreamer, as well as Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I read both of these in the beginning of this month. Strange the Dreamer is about Laszlo Strange, who is a young man he is a war orphan turned librarian, and he has always been interested in the lost city of Weep. Weep is a city that was closed to outsiders. Outsiders were like killed on sight, but eventually the name of the city disappeared and no one has heard from anyone in the city in the past, I think, 15 years. So there's just a lot of mystery around this, and then a delegation arrives from Weep to go to help them solve a problem, and that's where Laszlo comes in and where our story starts. I really enjoyed this duology. It has been on my TBR for such a long time. In fact, I did a vlog where I read these 2 books because they were like basically the oldest books on my bookshelf at this point, and I read them together. The audiobooks were excellent. I really enjoyed them. I think this series is both books, I think I have basically the same complaint. The writing is beautiful. I really loved the characters. The story is really interesting and it's heart-wrenching, like it grabs your emotions, and I really enjoyed the journey of this. However, I think each of them is a little long. Like, because of the descriptive nature of Laini Taylor's writing, it adds a lot to the story, while there's like the plot is there and we're moving forward and everything, but everything is described really beautifully and everything. It still makes the book kind of long. So I personally would have loved if we had trimmed these down a little bit. However, I did enjoy them both. I ended up rating, I think, Strange the Dreamer 4 stars, and I gave Muse of Nightmares a 3.5 stars. So a good duology. I really enjoyed it overall. I would highly recommend checking out the trigger warnings for this series because the nature of what's going on in Weep would definitely have some triggers going on there. So definitely check your content warnings. I will link them down below like I usually do but definitely check those out because this story is pretty dark at times, even though these books are so beautiful, and Laini Taylor's other works are also dark at times. This one definitely has some darkness in it that you want to probably know about before you go in. I also read The Innocent Sleep by Seanan McGuire. This is the next book in the October Days series, which I have talked a lot about on this channel. I talked about this. This was actually a TBR book for me. I think all of these have been TBR books so far, so yay to me for that. This is the story. The series follows October Day, who is a Knight of the Realm. She has been cursed for the past few years and not been a part of Fairy. It's a paranormal series, and she is making her way back into the realm of Fairy, her fairy contacts, her fairy connections, all of that stuff. When she's sort of forced to do an investigation as a knight, she kind of investigates things that no one else knows what to do with. So she's taking on that in the first book, and now we are 18 books in. The story has evolved and changed way far from that, but I can't tell you really what this book is about without spoiling so many things about the series. So just know that I really enjoyed this installment. I think I struggle, like Seanan McGuire does a 4-book arc basically throughout this series where we like go 4 books and then there's a big climactic thing that happens, and then we move into the next 4 books and another big climactic thing happens. And we're just coming out of that cycle with this book and the previous book. So the stakes are low in comparison to book 16, which is something I just sort of have to like remember throughout the book, that we're doing a lot of things that are set up and are going to be important in the next couple of books. So it feels low stakes, but I know it's going to be important and I know it's going to be exciting and everything. And also, I'm happy to see our characters not have to go through quite so much, even though they are going through a lot. I don't want to say any of what I was going to say because it's all spoilers, but just basically, as much as I enjoyed both of these books, it's hard for me to remember that they are like the start of things and we're setting things up again. So I enjoyed them very much, but it wasn't the like compelling pickup that I have done with some of these books in the series previously. Then I have Bombshell by Sarah MacLean. This is the Hell's Bells book 1. In this, we are following Cicely, who is a young woman in Victorian England. She is a part of the Hell's Bells group. They are a group of women that take on dangerous men in society and try to figure out ways they can take them out of power. So whether that's putting them in jail or just, you know, finding ways to take their power away from them in whatever way. They also try to protect women and children, and just there's a lot of like society questioning in here, especially in the role of women and stuff like that. It's a very fun historical series and I really love it. The first book is, like I said, about Cicely, and like if it's a historical romance series, so they're doing all of this like societal work while also and undercover work while also finding husbands. So it's a very fun series. I really enjoyed this installment. I have now gotten straight, if you heard any of my like complaining that I had read book 3 and not been able to tell the girls apart, I can tell the women apart now. I know who they are, just simply not being thrown in book 3. So really fun. The only thing I don't like about this series really is that none of the books match in size. So overall, just really excellent historical romance series and I love it to bits. Then I also have a DNF for this month, and that is Upon the Burning Throne by Ashok A. Banker. This is the Burnt Empire Saga book 1. In this, we are following a fantasy world where the next heirs to the kingdom are found, I think within the royal family, but they are set upon a throne, and if the baby is not burst into flames, then they are an heir to the kingdom. And I believe there is some succession questions in this because I think there are 3 heirs to the throne at this point and they are all vying for power. I heard really positive reviews from a few booktubers about this and also middling reviews recently. It is a huge book. I think it's like 600 pages. Yeah, just over 600 pages. And I had read about 200 pages of this previously. So I recently put this through my TBR in review process where I read the first chapter again and decided to keep it. However, after a little bit of time, I kept seeing this book on my shelf and I thought, you never had a strong urge to go back to it after you read that chunk of the book and put it down. You like never went back. You never had a strong urge to go back. So it started out as a soft DNF and I really thought I was going to go back to it, but I just didn't. And I don't think this is going to be something I decide to go back to. So I'm going to DNF it and say that it's just not for me. But those are the 5 books that I read in the first half of November. If you have any thoughts or feelings about any of the books that I talked about today, please let me know down below. I'd love to chat about them with you. And if you don't feel like chatting, just leave me a butterfly or like moth emoji. Is there a moth emoji? I don't know, but butterfly for the Muse of Nightmares duology, because I did enjoy that a lot, and I'm really proud of myself that I read those books. Like I said, I will have the vlog linked if you would like to see deeper like vlog thoughts on those books. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me again, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!